If you like Disney cartoons and Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, then stick around. Because you're about to discover 10 behind-the-scenes facts about Mickey's Christmas Carol. Mickey's Christmas Carol hit theaters in the US in 1983 and was packaged together with the re-release of The Rescuers. With the exception of re-releases, Disney's adaptation of A Christmas Carol was the first original Mickey Mouse cartoon produced in 30 years, because Mickey hadn't appeared in movie theaters since the 1953 short film The Simple Things. Mickey's Christmas Carol wasn't the first time Disney had produced their take on Charles Dickens' classic Christmas tale. Their first crack at it was a 1974 audio musical called An Adaptation of Dickens' Christmas Carol. The musical is similar to the animated cartoon, but two very noticeable differences were that the Ghost of Christmas Past and the Ghost of Christmas Future were way different. Merlin from The Sword and the Stone was the Ghost of Christmas Past, and the Ghost of Christmas Future was the evil witch from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If you pause the movie during the graveyard scene, there's some interesting name drops that can be seen on the tombstones. The first legible tombstone belongs to Barry Temple, who was one of the animators listed in the opening credits. Since we're here, you may also notice John Lasseter's name, but we'll get back to him in a moment, so stay tuned. But some other names you can find on the tombstones are of the musicians Gladys Knight and the Pips, Bob Wills, and the actor Warren Oates. It's no surprise to anyone that Scrooge McDuck was the perfect match to play Ebenezer Scrooge. But the reason why his first name and love for money are suspiciously identical to his Dickensian role is because Scrooge's creator Carl Barks was inspired by A Christmas Carol to create his own money-loving miser for Donald Duck Comics. And to complete the circle of influence, Barks's painting, The Season to be Jolly, was the inspiration behind the opening scene, where Scrooge walks down the street with a sack slung over his shoulder. Mickey's Christmas Carol was the first time Alan Young provided the voice for Scrooge McDuck. He voiced the character in the 1974 album recording, but Mickey's Christmas Carol was the first time Young voiced the character for an animated cartoon, which he would continue to do for nearly the next 30 years in TV shows, movies, and video games until his death in 2016 at the age of 96. Mickey's Christmas Carol marks the end of a legacy for Donald Duck, because he was voiced by Clarence Nash, who was the only surviving original voice of a character that was featured in the movie. The rest of them, including Walt Disney as the original Mickey Mouse, had all passed away by 1979. And this would be the last time Nash would provide the voice for Donald, before his own death just 2 years later in 1985. Many animated feature films, especially those produced by Disney, traditionally end their stories with the words "the end" at the close of the movie. But what's unique about the classic send-off for Mickey's Christmas Carol is that this was the last time a Disney film had used the end for nearly 10 years, until Aladdin in 1992. Mickey Mouse was voiced by Wayne Allwine, who had had the role since 1977, and would play the character until his death in 2009. But in addition to playing Mickey for this movie, Allwine also voiced the Santa Claus on the street asking for charity donations, Mole, who appears with Ratty collecting for the poor, and one of the two Weasel Undertakers. If you're an avid watcher of this cartoon, you may remember that Minnie Mouse makes an appearance as Mrs. Cratchit, but she seems to be there just for looks, because she never speaks a word throughout the whole movie. However, this wasn't supposed to be the case, because Minnie Mouse's longtime actress, Russi Taylor, did record dialogue for the animated feature, but for one reason or another, her lines were cut from the story. So going back to John Lasseter's name in the credits, according to WarpedFactor.com, Mickey's Christmas Carol was the only Mickey Mouse short where the legendary John Lasseter was involved as an animator. If you want more facts about other Christmas movies, then click the video up above, or the suggested video down below to discover more fun facts about your favorite films.